Well, Tom, but what are your thoughts about the story here?
The restaurant industry is suffering, and he's right. I'll paint the picture a little bit.
American feels at least 10 years older than they actually are, and all blame the same day today annoyance. We'll talk about that. Kevin O'Leary explains why restaurants are shuttering across America and why more will follow. More retirees consider returning to work as high inflation squeezes. People are delaying buying new cars, creating a deflationary spiral. That's bad news for the auto industry. Now, Kevin O'Leary explains why restaurants are shuttering across America and why more will follow. He highlights the U.S. restaurant industry dire situation, noting the U.S. restaurant industry finds itself on a menu with frequent headlines about bankruptcies, layoffs, and closures impacting beloved brands like Red Lobster, Applebee's. Due to inflation and declining foot traffic post-pandemic, he adds seemingly every day there's a headline announcing a bankruptcy, layoff, or store closure impacting one of the country's most beloved brands. O'Leary explains that rising food prices and the shift to remote work has significantly hurt restaurants, especially in urban areas where expensive locations are no longer seeing enough foot traffic. He notes eateries in urban locations have been hit especially hard as their expensive locations are no longer receiving the footfall they need to meet rent. It's almost like the days where you used to go to a dealership to buy a car, and nowadays you don't necessarily need to go to a dealership because you do what? You can order a car and it'll come to you. I think Uber Eats has probably played a big role in hurting these guys as well, Tom. But what are your thoughts about the story here?
The restaurant industry is suffering, and he's right. I'll paint the picture a little bit more broad. He's talking about like the Applebee's location, downtown Dallas, and you don't have as many people in the high rises. It doesn't take much. If your EBITDA is like 15%, let's say you make 15% profit and you suffer like a 20% drop in people coming to the restaurant, you're probably pinched on the edge of that not being a profitable location, in trouble. So yes, remote work and the urban areas are causing some of it. But now put yourself in this position. How many problems can you manage at once and stay in business? One, sir, some of our key locations in downtown areas, they're pinched because the foot traffic is down. So we're really in trouble with those. We may have to think about closing some of them because now they're consuming cash, not generating it. Oh no. But sir, in general, our overall profitability is down because food prices. And by the way, TransUnion says that the food price inflation over the last 4 years actually is 30%. So that's TransUnion, one of the big credit agencies doing deep research. It's 30%. Okay, food prices are up. And sir, by the way, in 4 states, we're going to have to pay $20 minimum wage. Oh, crap. How many problems can a restaurant manage at the same time as having locations that are not profitable because of foot traffic, getting pinched by $20 minimum wage, and then the food price? So Kevin Leary is right, and he's only hitting on one of the two things. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of people have favorite restaurants and things that they still patronize, but they're not survivable.
But I'm going to tell you something. That was a very good breakdown. Here's to look at. So Uber Eats revenue and usage statistics. This is from 2 months ago. Check this out. That's revenues from Uber Eats from 2018 to now. Look at Q1 2020. When did COVID happen? Second week of March. They felt it. But COVID launched Uber Eats business to the stratosphere. Look at the increase from 2018 to 2019. Not a big increase, 20%. But look at the increase from 2019 to 2020, nearly 3x. Then 2021, they double again. Then 2022, coming a couple of the restrictions are gone, 10.9, 12.1. But that business of going from 1.9, if you look at it, 1.9 to 12.1 billion, that's all money taken away from somebody. That's what Uber Eats made, revenue to them. This is the actual bookings. Look at that, 3.1 billion to 7.9 billion to 14.5 billion to 30.2 billion to 51.6, 55.7, 67.8 billion dollars. That's money going away from somebody. So COVID did this. It took money from restaurants, 200,000 restaurants shut down, and that money lost from restaurants directly and indirectly, 50 million jobs were affected. That's not the right number. It was a number in the billions. But just visualize this. This is the business of restaurants. This is how much money restaurants had. What COVID shutdown did is it took this money from here, gave it to Uber Eats, drivers bringing food to them, and that money from here gave it to Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, okay? Meaning this revenue of 100 billion or whatever the number is came at the cost of destroying the restaurant business. National Restaurant Association said restaurant and food service sales were $240 billion below 2020 pre-pandemic forecast. More than 110,000 eating and drinking establishments closed last year. How much money did Big Pharma make during COVID? Their Big Pharma raked in $90 billion in profits, Vinny. That's it, just the COVID-19 vaccines. That $90 billion of profits is like a 401k rollover. It rolled over from restaurants into big pharma. So you know what it makes me think about? Here's what it makes me think about. Every industry has lobbyists. This just tells you the lobbyists of big pharma are more powerful than the lobbyists of restaurant business. Why didn't the restaurant business lobby harder to protect them? What kind of access to resources do they have? What is the biggest restaurant chain that can go out there and be vocal about it? Why were they so quiet about it? They got destroyed. And if you think about restaurants, fast food chains would be considered low income, middle income, right? If you go to McDonald's, Burger King, places like that. Who is the biggest restaurant chain that's not fast food? What Applebee's does in revenue, $570 million. Today, that's their market cap. They only spend $200 million less than what their revenue is just in lobbying. You're not going to beat them. So guess what, folks? Here's what we learned. Big Pharma's lobbyists are more powerful than the restaurant industry's lobbyists, and that's how they got destroyed. The greatest 401k rollover, money rolled from 200,000 restaurant owners shutting down into the hands of Big Pharma. There you go. That's one way of looking at it. I'm just purely doing the math, and I'm looking at how this thing took place. But Uber Eats capitalized. Uber took a big share from a lot of these restaurants on the backs of a lot of bad policies.
I have some commentary here, but more from a macro perspective, not necessarily just the food industry, because I like how you kind of broke it down, whether it's Uber, whether it's these restaurants, whatever it is. But from a macro perspective, and then to kind of filter it down to a personal perspective, this is just Darwinism. This is just survival of the fittest. Can you adapt? What do I mean? What percentage of the companies that were in the Fortune 500 in 1950 or even in 1990 are still in the Fortune 500? We hear the stories that it's like the attrition rate is insane. 50% of the companies go out of the Fortune 500. I think 10% of the companies that were the biggest companies in the world in 1980 are still in the Fortune 500. How many companies have gone out of business? Whether it's WAMU, you tell that story. Whether it's Lehman Brothers, whether it's Bear Stearns, you tell the story about Kmart, JCPenney, Bed Bath & Beyond, Radio Shack, Blockbuster. These were the biggest companies in the world. WeWork, 2 years ago, what was it? Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. If you can't adapt and change with the times and you make poor decisions and you go on offense and you don't play defense, i.e. paying for lobbying, you could potentially go out of business. And I'll bring it to what PBD always says: outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and then what's the last thing, PBD?
Outlast.
Outlast. If you don't do all those four things, you're not going to outlast the market.
Very good point.
I don't disagree with your concept, but I think in this case, it wasn't survival of the fittest. There was a meteor that hit Earth and killed all the dinosaurs, depending on which scientist you want to believe. A meteor hit the industry and killed these restaurants, and is what happened. COVID happened. They were forced to close, and all of a sudden they're only making food delivered by Uber Eats, and they don't get beverage, they don't get bar tab, they don't get all those other things, and all those other people that worked at the restaurant that were delivering the food, the only people that were working was the 3 chefs in the back making stuff that people were picking up with Uber Eats. So this was a meteor called COVID that hit the restaurant industry.
Found this video insightful? Hit subscribe, turn the bell on, smash that thumbs up, and dive into the links in the description below. Join our vibrant community to ensure you never miss a video. Your generous support fuels our passion. Thank you for watching. We love you.